Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the cold spell, which is now slowly coming to an end. But as it does end, it could bring some extremely heavy snowfall in places as milder air slowly tries to push in off the Atlantic. Now, through the rest of this evening into tomorrow, we're likely to see some quite heavy snowfall, especially for parts of the Midlands and into northern England and parts of the higher ground of Wales, and we are seeing some of that at the moment. We have widespread yellow warnings issued for these areas, and we even have a local amber warning issued for Cumbria, as we are seeing a bit of a train of showers there at the moment, potentially seeing as high as 10 to 15 centimetres through the rest of this evening. So run through what's going on the live radar at the moment and where we are seeing snowfall as I speak. We'll then have a look at the weather warnings, see what is going on over the next 12 to 24 hours or so, and then we'll have a look at the various charts to see what sort of precipitation we could be seeing tonight into tomorrow as well. And then we'll finish up by having a look at the longer term, of course, just to keep up to date with what's going to be happening through the rest of December, as yes, it is going to be turning milder for all areas from around Wednesday into Thursday, but we will be seeing potentially cold weather return as we head towards the middle of the month. That is what some of the runs are hinting at, or continuing to hint at today. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now you can see on the live radar that the wind direction has shifted over the past 24 hours. It's gone from being an easterly wind, bringing in showers for the east coast, to now to more of a north to northwesterly or even flat westerly come tomorrow, as we do see low pressure starting to push back in. Now at the moment we're not seeing any full-blown area of low pressure, we're seeing a bit of a disturbance, which means it's much more difficult to forecast, and you can see that the precipitation is much more showery in nature, but still very heavy in places. Now you can see at the moment across parts of the Proper Ireland, Northern Ireland into southwest England, most of this is falling as a mix or as rain, and that is because slightly milder air is now mixing in with this disturbance, fueling the disturbance, but at the same time turning, as I said, slightly milder in places. But across parts of Wales, the Midlands into northern England, still that cold air is well established, and we are seeing all precipitation there fall as snow at the moment. At the moment, we've got lots of snow across parts of the higher ground of Wales. Yes, milder into the far southwest corner, into parts of the Midlands, up towards the northwest of England now. We are seeing some very heavy snow moving in. And then you can see this train of showers across parts of Cumbria that looks fairly narrow, but it's been going for a good 3 or 4 hours now. And we do have an amber warning issued for this, as we are seeing around 10 to 15 centimetres quite widely within this band. Further northwards, we have seen some snow across parts of the central belt of Scotland. We did actually hear earlier this morning that there were issues at some of the airports in Scotland because of snow. Didn't see anything too significant, but still a few centimetres can be fairly disruptive. Now this disturbance, which is gathering steam out in the Irish Sea at the moment, is going to perhaps become more organised in the coming hours, and is going to spread through parts of the Midlands into northern England, and could give a widespread covering of 2 or 3 centimetres, maybe as high as 5 to 10 centimetres in places, and areas that have already seen showers at the moment, like this northwest quadrant, could even see more than that, adding on the snow that is likely to arrive around midnight tonight. Now, after you put on the temperatures, at the moment you can see it is freezing cold across much of England, Scotland, and into parts of Wales, but you can see it is slightly turning milder further southwards and westwards. Nothing like amazingly mild, still cold, but around the 3 or 4 degree mark, which means that most of the precipitation is falling as a mix or as rain. Further southwards, across parts of central southern England, it is very cold at the moment, but those temperatures are going to slowly nudge up tonight. Could be some falling snow here, maybe a bit of accumulations initially around the midnight time into the early hours, but by sunrise tomorrow, most of these areas start to see warmer upper air temperatures. The surface still 1 or 2 degrees, but upper air temperatures will be rising, dew points rising, so most likely, sort of from the Midlands southwards, we're likely to see more of a mix or rain. It's really Midlands northwards, which is where we'll see any significant snow. Could see a surprise, have seen that happen historically, but the chances are fairly low, as we'll see in the models in a minute. But as I said, still very cold, will remain cold over the next few days, all the way till Wednesday, Thursday time. But especially the next day or two, upper air temperatures will rise further southwards, meaning most precipitation will fall as cold rain. Now, it is very cold across much of Europe, and if we do put on the past 24 hours snowfall, we can see there's been huge amounts of snow. Parts of Germany into parts of Switzerland, the Alps, all the way into parts of Eastern Europe now have got absolutely caked in snow. Some images from Munich, for example, which has made the rounds of around 10 to 20 centimetres of snow, widely even in sort of central Munich urban areas, absolutely buried. You can see for the United Kingdom, we have got snow in places. East Coast saw some snow last night, and you can see the focus now is across parts of Scotland, especially earlier today, but now across northwest England. You can see that area across Cumbria that's in already 10 centimetres of snow or more, and then of course across parts of Wales, and this area here is going to expand into the Midlands and generally northern England over the coming hours. Now, if we do have a look at the weather warnings, you can see we've got quite widespread snow and ice warnings issued for parts of the Midlands, northern England, parts of Wales, and then into that area in Cumbria. Now, if you start up towards Cumbria, where we've got this yellow snow and ice warning, it was issued 5 p.m. yesterday until midnight tonight, again for snow showers, and those were predicted, but it's this train of showers that's formed that wasn't forecasted to sort of stay stationary, really. Now, you can see it has been updated and shrunk a bit earlier this morning, and again was showing a couple of centimetres, maybe 2 to 5 centimetres, high likelihood lower end of the impact matrix, but it's this amber warning that's been updated around lunchtime today until midnight tonight, as those snow showers have formed into a band. You can see snow showers continue to move in from the Irish Sea across the area, with these heavy at times with the odd rumble of thunder. So not only is it persistent snow, but it can be very heavy as well. 2 to 5 centimetres, further 2 to 5 centimetres, and locally 10 to 15 centimetres is possible with it before the showers start to ease. Even this area here could see more further snow through the next day or two, as the cold air is likely to linger across Scotland and northern England, even when that milder air does move in for southern areas over the next 24 hours. So some areas of northern England, like this area in Cumbria, could get absolutely buried in the next 24 to 48 hours, especially over the higher ground where it does stay less marginal. And then we've got this wider snow and ice warning that does begin in around an hour's time and expires at midday tomorrow. Again, snow and ice this evening into Sunday morning will lead to some travel disruption. Many areas seeing 1 to 3 centimetres. Again, not everywhere, but most areas that do see significant snow will see at least 1 to 3 centimetres, 5 to 10 centimetres possible over hills and mountains. Again, lots of detail here, so make sure you do check that out if you are in this area. Again, there's a high likelihood lower end of the impact, and there is a real possibility that tonight, once the disturbance forms, we start to see it moving inland, we could even see an amber warning issued. Again, the reason why it's quite a blanket yellow warning, no major specific, is because there is a lot of uncertainty that we'll see in a minute. The models don't agree at all, even as this system is moving in a matter of hours. The models really not agreeing too much on its intensity, agree generally on its area, which is across this region, Midlands, Northern England, parts of Wales, but don't agree on the intensity and the widespread nature of the precipitation. And then finally into Sunday, you can see we've got some more ice warnings issued. We've got an ice warning issued for Cumbria. Again, this is where that snow could melt slightly overnight, and then we'll see ice form as we see temperatures drop extremely low. And then we've got a further ice warning issued until 8 a.m. tomorrow, and that is because we could see a bit of freezing rain developing as ground temperatures are still around the freezing point, and before the precipitation moves in tonight, temperatures in this region will probably drop towards freezing. As the rain arrives, we will see those temperatures rise as the milder air moves in. And as I said, that could allow some falling snow for a couple of hours, maybe a bit of accumulations, and then also some freezing rain, sleet, and a bit of a messy picture if you are up early tomorrow morning. If we do now have a look at the latest precipitation charts, this is the 3 o'clock UKV run, and you can see over the coming hours plenty of heavy snow showers moving in, and they start to really ramp up around the 6-7 p.m. point this evening. You can see they're moving further inland, but the UKV doesn't make too much of the disturbance at all. Yes, snow showers moving inland, definitely giving a few centimetres in places, especially through the early hours of Sunday, but nothing too crazy, and you can see the heaviest precipitation actually further southwards, and most of this falling as rain. I will say, though, as we'll see from some of the other runs in a minute, the UKV is a little bit of an anomaly there. All of the other precipitation charts we're going to have a look at, the Icon, Arpege, and ECMWF, all have a much more organised area of snow through the early hours of tomorrow morning. So perhaps the UKV is correcting, it's completely blown the other runs out of the water, or it's having a bit of an anomalous issue here, as the other runs are all showing that area of snow across the Midlands and Northern England a lot more persistent and a lot more organised than the UKV is showing here. It's just showing here as a rash of showers. As we progress through Sunday, we're going to see a lot more precipitation through England and Wales, especially into the afternoon and evening. But again, mostly wrapped up within milder air. So initially, for many, this will be rain. But it's when it hits northern Wales, perhaps North Midlands, into the higher ground of northern England, we could see more extensive snow. And I said that area across Cumbria, elsewhere, could see some real heavy snow through Monday into Tuesday as that precipitation moves away. But for most areas of England and Wales, could see some snow tonight, but as we progress into Monday and Tuesday, most of this will be falling as a wintry mix or as rain, but the temperatures are still going to be pretty abysmal, only 3 or 4, 5 degrees at best in places. So yes, not falling as snow, but still going to be incredibly cold out there. As that low pressure moves away, actually does pull the cold air back in for a time, before eventually into Wednesday and Thursday we see proper milder air moving back in, as we see this main weather front coming from the southwest is going to give a proper reintroduction of Atlantic weather fronts and milder air. Again, it will take its time to move in, and there could be some transitional snow, but look, that is a big wedge of milder air. That is, unfortunately, if you like the cold, is not, the cold's not going to be able to withstand the pressure from this milder sector and from the general jet stream that is trying to push back in over the coming days. Now, if you have a look at the 2 metre temperatures, you can see earlier this morning it's been freezing cold, and through much of today, many areas have actually seen an ice day. Temperatures not getting above freezing, so it's been the coldest day of the spell so far, and it is, funnily enough, the final day. As I said, those temperatures over the days do culminate, and again, if we just saw more colder temperatures, more colder upper air temperatures over the coming days, we'd probably see more ice days, but milder air is moving in, and overnight tonight you can see most areas down towards freezing, but temperatures are going to slowly rise around the midnight point to around 2 or 3 degrees. Again, still cold, but not quite cold enough for snow for many southern areas. As we progress into tomorrow, as I said, temperatures not rising all too much, maybe 7 or 8 degrees on the far south coast, most areas sort of 2 to 5 degrees. Even there, very cold, but most of the precipitation will be falling as rain. As we progress into Monday, still a pretty chilly day, maybe 5 to 7 degrees at best, but very few areas down towards that 1 or 2 degree mark as that milder air is pushing in. Into Tuesday, though, the cold air wraps back in. You could see a bit of a frost in northern areas through Tuesday evening, and overnight into Wednesday could be a widespread frost actually returning, and then through Wednesday afternoon, still another pretty bitterly cold day, only 1 to 3 degrees, before eventually the proper milder air arrives into Thursday. Now, if you have a look at the icon chart to see what that is showing over the next few hours or so as we head into the potential snow events tonight. Again, you can see that snow across Cumbria through this afternoon. The disturbance moving inland, and it turns more widespread and heavy, especially around that midnight point. Even some snow further southwards there as it progresses through, giving quite a widespread dumping there of around 2 or 3 centimetres, maybe 5 to 10 in a few spots, before moving away, and eventually low pressure moves back in. Could see some more snow for northern areas, especially North Wales into the northwest of England, before slowly easing away through Monday, and then bringing that colder air back in for Tuesday and Wednesday, before eventually properly milder air moves back in with lots of heavy rain into Thursday. But through tonight, much more in the way of widespread, heavy, organised snow here, not what we saw in the UKV, which is a lot less disorganised. Even you could argue if the icon was slightly overdoing precipitation, still it's looking a lot more organised and widespread than the UKV was making it out to be. If you do compare to the R pairs run, again, this has just come out. This is the latest 12 o'clock run. As you head through this evening, you can see that snow moving in, and again, a lot more organised into a band very similar to what the icon was showing. Again, snow, rain line, more across the Midlands into northern England. So here, perhaps snow confined further northwards, but nevertheless, those areas in northern England could get a lot of snow through the evening, for eventually moving away, and then we see the next precipitation band move in for Sunday evening, and again could be some more heavy snow for northern Wales, northern England, but as I said, could transition more to rain at times. Will be definitely a mix and will be a bit of a nowcast situation with the typing of that, before eventually it does move way back into the North Sea. We go very cold once again for proper milder weather fronts move in from the west as we head into Wednesday. And again, there could be some heavy transient snow there, but most it will be turning to rain by the end of that low pressure system moving in. Now, finally, for the snow charts, if we look at the latest ECMWF, you can see through this afternoon those snow showers gathering steam, and then we see that disturbance move in for much of the mid-north Midlands into northern England. Interestingly, if we look at this, much more in the way of widespread snow. Again, very organised like the Icon and the Arpege, especially for those northern areas, but even in towards the London area, could see some heavy initial falling snow, even here, as that system moves in around the 1, 2, 3 a.m. point. So if you are up very early in the morning or stay up very late at night, then you could just about see some falling snow even into parts of southern England. But it is likely to turn back to rain very quickly, and you can see mostly rain for that system into Monday morning. But you can see here more very heavy snow for northern England into parts of northern Wales here, and then eventually slowly dissipating away, and then we see the milder air move back in with the transient snow event into Thursday. If we do actually put on the snow depth charts here for this ECMWF run, you see widely sort of 2-3 centimetres of snow tonight, and then maybe 10 to 20 centimetres of snow for that snow into Monday. So it could be some real significant snow in places across the Midlands and northern England into North Wales through the next sort of 48 hours or so. So do keep up to date with those warnings and keep an eye on the live radars. That's going to be the best way to know what is going to happen. From the looks of the live radar at the moment, I do think the UKV is definitely more of the anomalous run. The other runs which are showing it being more organised is definitely more accurate, because if we do go back to the live radar, you'll be able to see that definitely we are seeing some more organisation to these showers, and it is likely to become even more organised over the coming hours as it does spread inland. It does look very heavy as well, so definitely could build some quite significant accumulations in a very short space of time through the rest of this evening. Now, if we do finally have a look at the longer term and see what that has in store, the 6 o'clock run from last night of the GFS did produce some bitterly cold easterly winds by the end of it. Today, let's see what the runs are showing. Again, westerly winds looking likely as we head into next week. Around the Wednesday, Thursday time, properly milder air will move back in. Beyond that, westerly winds remain, high pressure building in, but with a southwesterly flow. It's actually a very mild high pressure system. But right towards the end of the run, pretty typical of recent GFS runs, it is ridging northwards up towards Svalbard, Iceland, Greenland and Scandinavia, and a very cold pool of air is heading towards Scandinavia and Eastern Europe. Again, here we are actually incredibly mild, but from the looks of the pressure charts here, would not be surprised if we moved on another 2 or 3 days to see easterly wind starting to move in. That's the typical sort of pattern when we see these high pressures ridging northwards. So yes, GFS on paper looks very mild, but if we look at the big overview, the Northern Hemisphere overview, which you do actually have a look at the Northern Hemisphere view, you can see blocking is re-emerging across our side of the pole, and again, could turn us very cold, even in towards that Christmas period. So again, need to keep a very close eye on that, as that is continuing to trend in the longer term of these runs. If we compare to the GEM, again, low pressure moving in over the coming days. Again, going to give heavy snow in places, but eventually heavy rain for all. And as we head towards day 10, again, blocking, trying to ridge northwards. We look at day 10, we're actually trying to pull in cooler easterly winds once again. A bit of a pattern where it could go either way. The lower pressure could break back in off the Atlantic, or this high pressure that is ridging northwards could take over. And if it does, we could see cold easterly winds coming in again. Bit of on a knife edge here, which way that does go. But it is not a westerly fest. Yes, it goes unsettled and westerly for a few days at least, but the longer term trends definitely for higher pressure blocking to continue to play some sort of role. And if you do finish by looking at the ECMWF, again, westerly winds continue to come in off the Atlantic over the coming hours, looking pretty, over the coming days, pretty stormy potentially at times, especially further westwards and right toward the extended range. Again, generally a westerly flow, but we are continuing to see areas of high pressure further northwards. Probably not as encouraging for blocking as the GM or the GFS were, but nevertheless not your ordinary flat westerly that we can see and we often do see this time of year. Definitely something is afoot, and we'll just have to keep a very close eye to see what is going to be happening as we head into the next few weeks. As I said, the longer term climate drivers definitely are looking more favourable for more colder weather towards the second half of December. So that is something we will keep a very close eye on over the coming days and the coming weeks. Now, to finish by looking at the latest ensembles, the latest GFS ensembles generally show milder conditions returning for the London area. Bit of a milder sort of air coming in over the next couple of days as those low pressures move in. A colder drop through Wednesday, and that's where we could actually see much colder conditions return for a time before it goes very mild and unsettled once again. I say very mild, but very mild compared to what we have now, but actually only generally average, maybe slightly above average. Still some colder runs appearing, but I'd say they are definitely in the minority at this stage. Most likely pattern is for generally average conditions to take over for the next week or two. If we do finish by looking at the ECMWF ensembles, pretty similar, generally coming towards average as we head in towards the sort of middle period of December, so around the sort of 7th to 15th, looking generally around average. Some cold runs are still there, but definitely average. Westerly flow with some colder interludes is looking the most likely scenario at this stage, with a return to quite a bit of precipitation. Because even though, yes, we have some snow in places over the last week, it has actually been fairly dry. So we are going to be seeing the return to probably daily rainfall for many, but of course we're bringing slightly milder air with that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks in the longer term, but for the next sort of 48 hours there could be pretty disruptive snow across the Midlands and Northern England and perhaps North Wales, especially through Sunday into Monday. So do make sure you keep an eye on the live radar and have a look at the weather warnings. Of course, the amber warning that's been issued today been issued at very short notice, so unless you are keeping an eye on the Twitter feed, of course, of Met Office or looking on their app, you probably wouldn't even know there was an amber warning issued. So do make sure you keep up to date with those warnings and do keep an eye on the live radar if you have got plans for tomorrow. And if you have got stuff going on in tomorrow morning, and you are in these areas that could see heavy snow over tonight, make sure you do have contingencies, because it could be a situation where you see a dusting and it's not too significant, but equally the disturbance could move slightly. It could be slightly more intense, slightly more widespread, and we could see 3 to 5 centimetres, which is getting towards the stage where it could be pretty disruptive indeed. So as I said, make sure you keep an eye on the live radar and on the weather warnings. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll probably have another update out on the risk of snow again over the next day or so tomorrow. But for the time being, do stay safe out there. And as I said, I'll see you again for another video soon.